The marketing for Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is certainly ramping up, as the game is mere weeks away from launch, and in this video I want to talk about a tie-in comic launching next year. Avatar Theory here, hope you're doing well and having a fantastic day, and in this news video I want to talk about a brand new 6-issue comic book arriving next year from Dark Horse Comics, focused on one of the characters in Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Now the link to this article will be in the pinned comment and the description below if you want to check it out yourself, but first I'm going to go over the description of the first issue and then just give my general thoughts about this afterwards. Now the article goes as follows, quote, "The next evolution of James Cameron's immersive universe takes shape in Ubisoft's Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Release date December 7th, 2023, where players will experience an open-world action-adventure as a member of the Na'vi fighting against the RDA for the sovereignty of their homeworld. This 6-issue miniseries tie-in introduces readers to new characters and clans and provides the origin story of one of the critical characters in Ubisoft's new game. Meet Sulek, a Na'vi warrior who must go on a transformative journey across Pandora. While the battle of the Hallelujah Mountains is over, the trauma of war is never ending. Alone, desperate and grief-stricken, Sulek must look to Awa and find a path towards healing. Though danger, doubt and pain awaits him, he must answer the call." End quote. Now as I said, the first issue of this 6-chapter miniseries arrives on February the 28th, 2024. This made me think about a couple of things. Firstly, Sulek's journey reminds me a lot of Tute's Path, one of the first comic books we got for the Avatar movie, which was a prequel, and from what I understand of this one, Sulek's journey also seems to be a prequel to Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Now looking at the description, it does state that this is an origin story of one of the critical characters in Ubisoft's new game. We know that Tute was an important character in the Avatar movie, and of course, spoilers if you have not watched first Avatar, he does die towards the end of the movie. This makes me wonder if Sulek will die throughout the game, and thus we get an origin story in the form of a comic book, again the same as Tute's Path a few years ago. And considering that this issue does launch on February the 28th, 2024, it is roughly 3 months after the release of Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Now we know that Frontiers of Pandora will have 2 expansion packs in the form of a season pass, and looking at other DLC content or expansion packs for other Ubisoft games, specifically the Far Cry games, looking at Far Cry 5 and specifically Far Cry 6, more often than not you play as a different character in that expansion pack, which makes me wonder if one of the expansion packs for Frontiers of Pandora is going to focus on Sulek. Maybe you play as Sulek throughout this comic book, essentially it being a prequel where the DLC pack or the expansion pack will essentially end where the main game begins. I can see that happening because usually the time frame for a first expansion pack is roughly 3 months after the release of the main game, and as I said, Frontiers of Pandora is releasing at the beginning of December, so it does make sense that we'll see the first expansion pack at the end of February, maybe the second expansion pack around June, maybe July of next year. But as I said, just looking at how they treated Tute in his own comic book series and looking at Sulek having his own comic book series as well, being a prequel which is released after the main game, makes me wonder if, as I said, if he's going to die throughout the game, this comic book focusing on his origin story, releasing the same time as the first DLC pack, which makes you play as Sulek in Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. But that all is just purely speculative. Regardless, I am excited about this prequel comic. I do wish they released this ahead of Frontiers of Pandora, you know, making it a 6-issue comic book series, thus releasing every week up until the release of Frontiers of Pandora. So essentially the first issue would be releasing this week, considering we're roughly 6 weeks away from the release of Frontiers of Pandora, as that would also make audiences more excited into the story, read a bit about the backstory of some of the characters, and then see their rest of their journey in the game playing out. But what are your thoughts about this? Do you think that Sulek will die in the game, and do you think that this is essentially a prequel, the same as in Tute's Path was a prequel to his story, knowing that he died in the movie? And do you think that the first expansion will be based on Sulek? Let me know in the comments below, and for more Avatar content, have a look at the rest of my channel. Until next time, have a fantastic day and stay safe.